we were in negotiations.
Investing in real estate, they're winning, they're making money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Real Estate Educators Podcast, where we provide the education you can build on. I am your host, Kevin Amolsch. We have a very cool special episode today. We're going to be talking about the Minnesota Real Estate Investor Success Summit. I brought the team in. You know them, you love them. Welcome, Coop, Howie, and Sean. What's up, guys?
Hey, guys.
How are you, Kevin?
How we doing?
Good. So if you haven't yet, whether you like it or not, please give us a 5-star review and maybe share it with a friend. And now let's get into it. So we have this really cool event coming up in Minnesota on March 2nd. It's a Saturday, full day event. We do it every year. We do it in Denver as well. So the idea is to bring as many investors together as we possibly can. Networking, education, there's breakout sessions so you can kind of learn what you want to, what you're expecting. So that's the overview of what we're doing on the 2nd. So Coop, let me start with you, man. How long have we been doing this event?
Oh my gosh. What, since 2013, 2014?
So
Somewhere around there. So, I mean, a decade now, right? We've been doing this for 10 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's such a great event. One of the things I love about having done this for 10 years now is that we've gotten to know so many great investors there. They come out each and every year. And so it's just an awesome opportunity to see our clients, to see investor friends, to catch up on, their deals, their investments, and of course their family and their lives.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing about Minnesota that's so special is that we all fly out there, other than Sean, because you're there. But we all fly out there, so it's kind of like hall pass, right? We don't have any curfews. We don't have anything to worry about. So we really do dig into the networking and the event after the event after the event, right? That's where the deals happen. So I'm really looking forward to that. Howie, this is now your second Minnesota Investor Success Summit. What are you looking forward to?
yeah, just more of the same. The networking is so good here. This event, the Denver one, has a special place in my heart too, just because was my introduction to Pine, and the first time seeing everything in action, seeing how it all works, and I liked it so much that I decided to join the team. So I highly recommend for the folks up in Minnesota, and if you're not there, to make your way there and attend this, because it really is an awesome event that we put on here.
So what are you most looking forward to? You said the networking?
Yeah, for me, it's always the networking. I mean, obviously the speakers are going to be great. You're always going to pick up some information, but I just love meeting people, getting new clients, helping new people. To me, it's second to none, this event for that kind of a thing, for sure.
Yeah, and this is your first speaking slot, so I'm going to dig into that in a minute. But Sean, come to you, man. Tell us what's the lineup. I know this is a really good lineup, especially because of the market we're in right now.
Yeah, so we've actually got a really good lineup. So we're going to start the day out with Jason Wojo from Life and Air. He's gonna speak to everybody. We're going to have him on his own session because, to be honest, I think it's a really important message that he puts across on how to get a work-life balance and essentially live your best life. So we're going to start the day with him, and then we'll have breakout sessions. And one of the things I wanted to suggest to people is, if you can bring someone with you, whether it's a partner, a spouse, a friend, whoever, bring someone with you so that you can divide and conquer. Each of you can be in a session and you can take notes and give notes to each other then throughout the day so you don't miss out on anything, because there's going to be great speakers throughout the day. We're going to have Howie talking about his first flip that he's in process with, and going through all that and the trials and tribulations and rewards of that. I'll be talking about what I see with new investors and new borrowers that we're dealing with, and some of the top things that I see them doing to succeed. We're going to have Kevin speaking. To be honest, I don't remember what you're speaking about.
I don't even know yet.
But Kevin is
if you have an idea, leave a comment below.
Kevin is a wealth of knowledge, so no matter what he's talking about, you're going to get some great information from that. We've got one of the biggest brokers in Minnesota, Ryan O'Neill. He's going to be talking about finding rental properties in a tough market. And then we've got a really good investor friend of ours, Alexandra Hayter. She's going to be talking about the progression. She's going to be talking about the progression of how she started out as a residential investor and has moved her way up to commercial, and all the things she's dealt with and things that she's done to be able to succeed. So it should be a great lineup for the day.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that fireside. So I was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa when we did our Denver Success Summit, the first summit I've ever missed. And we had a fireside chat at that event. And it sounds like it went really well. We had a local attorney here, actually Jared, I think, and and it went really well. So, Coop, you were at that event. How does a fireside chat with an attorney look, or how does that look?
Yeah, so I think it's anytime we have a fireside chat, it's really a conversation between two different people. But the difference is it's not just those two people sitting inside in front of a fire, right, having a chat. It's them on stage having the conversation with all of us watching the conversation and listening in on the conversation. So what it usually entails, or what it can entail, and what I'm imagining this year will as well, is we're going to have the attorney up on stage. We're going to have somebody asking him questions. So the questions are prepared. They know a little bit about the background of the attorney. They know what's going on in the market, and they have put together a bunch of um, curated questions to be asking this attorney. So they're going to be good questions. They're going to be questions that will dive deeper than just surface level. But potentially, there's a chance for audience questions as well. So I think one of the things as we're preparing for this event, or all of us, right, the attendees and everybody, is what kind of questions should we be bringing to an attorney? Um, what kind of questions do we want to have answered by the attorney? Because whether we ask it or somebody else asks it, we need to be prepared for those answers. But it's really pulling the curtain back and listening in on a conversation between two professionals that is obviously going to be very important for all of us as real estate investors.
Yeah, I love this. And you're right. We will definitely have opportunities for the crowd, the guests, the audience to get involved in that fireside. So I don't want to say free legal advice because that's not what I'm supposed to say, but it's definitely free legal information
That's right.
at this event. So, Howie, your first one was Denver,
Correct.
and you said it has a very special spot because that's how you met us. So, when you were going to the Denver event for that very first time, like what made you decide to sign up, register, and get your butt in that seat?
Well, really, the timing of it was perfect because I had just moved to Denver from California, and this is something that I've wanted to get into: real estate investing, flipping, holding properties. And just by chance, I found the Pine YouTube channel and was listening to some of that. And I think it was maybe the second episode that I happened to catch said that the Denver Success Summit was going to be going on. And it just happened to be that weekend. And I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday, and I was able to get a ticket in time for the Saturday event, and the rest is history.
So, if someone was considering going to this event in Minnesota on March 2nd, register at mniss.com. What what would they like? Who should be registering for this event?
Anybody that's interested in getting into real estate investing, anyone that's interested in getting better at real estate investing, or if you have a friend that's like Coop was saying, is interested in this, bring them along, force them in. I mean, how much does it cost? It's almost nothing to attend this, and the value that you get from it, there really is nothing to lose. And you'll leave there motivated and educated. I can guarantee, I can speak from experience on that.
Yeah, I love it. So, Sean, right now we have an economy or a market. Conditions are tough.
Hmm.
Inventory is super low. We're at record low inventories, frankly, and the Twin Cities is no exception to that. It's hard to find deals. What are we doing to provide value to the guests if they register at mniss.com?
I'm
What,
glad you
what are
brought
we
that up
doing
'cause
to provide the value in this challenging market at this event?
well, I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things I didn't mention when I was listening to the speakers, like I did say that Ryan O'Neill was going to be talking about finding rentals in a tough market, which obviously we're in that right now with low inventory and everything else. But to end the day, we're also going to have an investor panel where we're going to have 3 to 4 really successful investors here in town in our market doing deals, and they're going to give us kind of their tips and tricks of how they're finding stuff, how they're taking deals that maybe others have passed on, and making those into deals that they become very successful on. So it's going to be great to be able to interact with them on a Q&A of exactly what their process is and everything else, because like you said, this is uncharted times right now with how low the inventory is and everything else. But one of the nice parts is here in Minnesota, we've had such great weather this winter. We haven't even really had a winter, that the spring market is actually started to ramp up already here. I've talked to a handful of realtors recently, and they said that they're already starting to get multiple offers on properties that they're throwing on the market. So even though it is challenging to find the deals, once you're finding them, they are going to start moving here pretty quickly with the weather staying the way it is, and with spring coming up here shortly, the real spring. So we'll see. It's going to be a great day to learn from all these people. And
I'm
even if
really
you only
excited
make
about
one
that.
connection,
Oh, go ahead.
even if you only make one connection at this event, it could completely change your life. So
Yeah, and like the cost is what? It's 40 bucks, 39
yeah,
bucks.
$39. I mean, it's like how I said, it's almost free. So
Yeah, so we obviously 39 bucks, guys. We don't make any money on this. We're not here to make money. What we're here to do is provide value and to network. We want to meet you because we make money doing deals together. So if we can help you do a deal and we both profit from it, that's what we're looking for.
mhm.
We're not making money on the event itself. So pretty low risk, and heck, if you don't like it, we'll give you 220. So you'll make $1 if you come and you come and you don't get the value you're looking for. So back to this panel. I know I asked a favor of a good friend of mine, the founder of Caspian and Break Capital. And if you look behind him to his team, you can see why he's had so much success. And he was lucky. I mean, I feel lucky enough, or we are lucky enough, that he asked one of his team members, in fact, one of the top people on his team, to come in and sit on that panel. So if you want to talk about a powerhouse, she is it. And she's going to be sitting on that. Who else is on this panel?
We've got Rashad Kennedy, who he's actually killing it in this market right now. And the great part about Rashad is he actually started with us right when he was green. I mean, he was just coming out of college and was interested in real estate. And he started out doing smaller fix and flips, and then graduated up to doing larger rehabs on duplexes and things like that, and built a rental portfolio. And then he started getting into new construction, and now he's even touching on some commercial stuff. So he's really a good story to learn from, because he has literally started from square one and built his way up. And yeah, he's just a great person to deal with. He's a personable guy, so he's going to be fun to listen to. I'm really glad we got him on the panel this year. And then one of the other investors that we have is another really good client of mine, Amber Miller. She is the prototype for how you should be doing stuff if you're going to be a full time investor. Her and her husband Alan they are the model for how you should be doing this stuff. So she's always happy to come help us out and give some insight to people on how you can get things done. And she's just a great person to deal with. So
So if you noticed, all the speakers, with the exception of the Pine team, is from the Twin Cities, right? They're
yep.
local. So we really focus on local experts because we don't allow sales pitches. So leave your checkbook, leave your credit card at home. We are not going to sell you anything. It's absolutely 100% value from local people. I don't think any of them have any products to sell, any mentorships, nothing like that. So it's very different than a lot of the other events you may have attended. So I wanted to get back to I want to get back to Coop, I want to get back to Coop and Howie. So Howie, let's start here. Let's go to Coop, because I know if we talked many times, we talked many times about the value of the networking. Now we've just went over who's going to be on stage and the value you're going to get from them. That alone will pay for the price of the ticket, like in the first 5 minutes, right? So you're going to get a ton of education. Promise you, you're going to leave there smarter and more motivated than when you came. But the real value to a lot of people is the networking. Who can you meet to help you accomplish your goals? Coop, what are some strategies going into an event like this where there's going to be several hundred people, to either identify the right person to network with, or what are some networking techniques, tricks that someone can implement to be prepared for this on Saturday the 2nd?
Yeah, Kevin, this is such a great point. I think it's is greatly overlooked when people go to an event like this. They see this and like Howie, I want to get into the industry, I want to further my knowledge, right? These things when Howie wanted to come, but having a purpose when you come to these events. I want to meet three wholesalers. I need to meet the one best hard money lender in all of Minnesota, Pine Financial. Whatever it may be, I need to find contractors. I need to get a property manager, right? Whatever it is, going in with a purpose that will help you network. Having that purpose will help you in countless ways. One, you'll be motivated to talk to more people because you want to leave having accomplished that goal. Two, you'll be motivated to leave the conversations that aren't pushing you forward, right? You want to meet everybody and talk to everybody, but it's going to get to a certain point where you've added as much value as you can to them. They may or may not be adding the value that you need. Thanks. It was so great to meet you. I got to go meet some other folks because I got to go find a new general contractor, right? And that's a perfectly valid excuse at one of these events. You don't have to stay with the same people the whole time. The point is to go around, meet people, and learn. Um, Another thing, and we haven't really talked about this yet, is the vendors. We've got a lot of vendors that will be here. The vendors will be here all day long. They've got tables set up. They're going to have lots of information on their tables. Um, and this is such a great place. You may be able to walk in again in those first 5 minutes before the event even really starts, when we're registering and checking in, going and meeting those vendors. And that one connection that you may need may already have a table there and is ready for the conversation with you to help you out. So when you're coming in, have a purpose and then, execute on that purpose. Go and try and find everybody you can talk to fulfill that goal. And don't be scared to leave conversations early to make sure you accomplish that. That's something I think is super important and most people don't do. They don't come in with an actual goal for the event.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. And the speakers, because they're local experts, they're not the national gurus. They're so open to communicating and talking with you. Look, they're just out here doing business. They make their money doing deals just like you. So I think what I love about that is they are absolutely open to conversations. And I want to get into the networking happy hour, but that's a Sean question, and I've neglected Howie. I know Howie. I'm sorry. I need to make sure I get to you.
You
So
enjoy my
I,
happy hours.
yeah, actually, maybe it should be you talking about the happy hour. In seriousness, let's hear about your presentation because you're gaining so much experience right now with your very first fix and flip, and it wasn't a little kitchen bath remodel. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I think this is gonna be really fun. So like coming to this event, kind of soaking up as much knowledge as I can, bouncing questions off of the people that I have met at these events. I felt confident and ready to go and do my own flip. And it was funny, like once you put it out there to the universe, this property literally just found me and we jumped on it. Now it's definitely a bigger project than what I would have liked for my first one, and I'll go into more detail at the summit. Um, but what I'm basically going to go through there is, how did I find the property? What are the numbers? What did I do wrong? Which there's a pretty good list there. Even though I've learned from a lot of people, ask a lot of questions. Until you're in it, you just don't know. Um, you know, how did I find a contractor? How am I finding my realtor? Why did pick this specific property? So there's going to be a good long list of information in there, and highly encourage everyone to just ask me questions. Because yeah, until you're in it, it's a whole different thing. Um, and obviously, there's things that are happening where somebody did tell me that, and you're kind of ignorant to it. Like, oh, that won't happen to me. Come on, and then now you're in it. Like, oh man, it happened to me. All these kinds of things. So it really is a fun experience, and I can't wait to share it with everybody at the event.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to check out your session as long as you and I aren't speaking at the same time, because that is always a possibility. But I'm definitely gonna try to jump in there and listen to what you've learned through your process. All right, Sean, the after event. Let's hear about this, man, because this is I
This is
love
the
it.
deals are made.
We really do a tremendous amount of networking, and I got to tell you, I've made probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in Minnesota at this event because of this networking event. So, what is it?
Yeah, so what we do is everyone that registers for the event, you'll obviously get a handout when you show up with the lineup of speakers and their bios and all that good stuff, and you'll have pages where you can take notes. But then the other thing is on the back of the handout, we have a drink ticket on there, and we want to encourage people to come to the networking part of it because, like you said, that's to be honest, that's probably the most important part of the entire event is the networking. So what we do is we have a drink ticket on there. We'll buy you your first drink, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. We just want you to show up and mingle with people in the room. Speakers will still be there, most likely. The vendors will all be there. So it's a great way for you to maybe ask a question that you didn't get to ask earlier in the day, or network with people. Talk to us if you'd like. It's just a great thing to do, to connect with people. And like you said, we've seen deals done right there at the Success Summit in the happy hour part of it. And like Cooper was saying earlier, we've done this for so long now that we've got investors that literally come every single year because they're like friends of ours now, and they look forward to just being able to hang out and have a drink and catch up and see if they can get some deals done, whether it be with us or someone else in the room. It's something that a lot of us look forward to, and I think people should really stick around to go to that part of the event, because it's where deals get done.
If I
Yeah.
can
Absolutely.
piggyback on that
Yeah,
real
do
quick.
it, please.
Um, so these friends that we've made in the industry and stuff that come each year, one of the great things is we're always welcoming new people in, right? It's not like an exclusive group that now we've got this core, right? And new people aren't really welcome in. It is such a welcoming group. It is amazing to see just how giving this group is. When we're together, if this is your first time, if you've got questions, if you just want to be a fly in the wall, if you want to jump in with a similar story, it's welcome. We love it. We love meeting new people. Everybody in the group is going to be so welcoming and encouraging. So,
Mhm.
don't feel like it's a good old club, and it's going to be hard to break into. It's probably one of the easiest groups to get into if you're interested. And even if what you're just trying it out and seeing if you'll like us, hanging out, maybe you won't. But the only way you'll know is by coming and trying and coming and hanging out and sharing a drink with us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because I'm an introvert, so that's huge. And look, Howie's first time was last year. His first Minnesota event was last year, and they welcomed him. So we should be fine, right? What's up, Howie?
No, I was just going to piggyback off of what Coop said there. That was my experience. The first one that I did go to, I was super nervous, very uncomfortable going into that building, and literally within the first 5 minutes, you could just see that everybody was welcoming, not just Pine, but also just the attendees. Um, they're very eager to meet you, talk to you, understand who you are, what you're there for. So yeah, don't be shy, guys. Come on out. It really is a welcoming community.
Yeah, love it. All right, so a lot of our viewers and listeners to this podcast are out there trying to get real estate investor clients, and we talk a lot about the education side of, I guess, business. So if you're an attorney, an insurance agent, a mortgage broker, any of those things, providing content to investor or the investor community is huge, and that's how you gather in that business. Which transparency, that's why we do this, right? Like I already mentioned. So if someone was interested in starting a group like this, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once a year, like this specific event. Coop, you do a lot of work in the Denver for the Denver Success Summit. Sean carries the load mostly in Minnesota. So start with Coop. Like, what does it take to put an event like this on?
After a decade and a half of doing this, it's a lot easier now than it used to be. Um, But that's because we have the lists, we have the contacts, we've had the conversations. Um, but that doesn't mean that it's a difficult thing to set up. Honestly, if it was me starting all over again, I would come to this event. I would come to an event like this. I would try to come to many of these events because by doing that, you're going to be networking, of course, with these other vendors. Because if you're starting a new event, you want to have vendors, you want to have other people support the event. Also, these are people who have their own lists of people, right? And so, if you have an insurance agent and a contractor and a title company and a realtor, all of them have their sphere of influence and people that they're talking to. So, if you invite them to be a part of your event, either as a speaker or as a vendor, um, try to get them to market the event as well. Now it's not just the list I have or the lack of a list that I have. You're now piggybacking on these other people's lists to get more attendees, more eyeballs on the event to try and get more butts and seats, right? And that's ultimately what we're trying to do is have a big turnout and get a lot of people there uh for whatever, the goal that you're trying to accomplish with your event. But I would definitely start with that. Meet other people by going to events, see who of course, the people who are there consistently, because those are the vendors who are very invested in the community. If you see the same insurance agent at 3 other meetups, they're probably going to come to yours, right? They're going to be there and want to support you. So these are the types of people that you want to be meeting and bringing into your event. um, Finding a good location is super important. You want to find something central, easy access to. I think where we're having it at the DoubleTree is like right off, one, maybe three highways, very, very centrally located, easy access. Um, and you want to make sure that honestly, if you're starting, probably get a couple dates. What are a couple locations, a couple different dates that are available so that it'll work for you and for a couple of your vendors, right? You don't want to find the one date that works for you and none of the vendors can show up because then you're gonna have some trouble getting those butts and seats, right? But finding a good location, networking for other folks that'll help and support the event. And then how are you gonna market the event? So we've used meetup.com for years and years and years and years. And it's such a great way because meetup.com, first off, we can send out links to our event, to our list. So, hey, go to meetup.com/MNISS, to get your tickets and to learn more. But also, meetup.com has all these other meetup groups and all these other people in there who are interested in, say, real estate investing. And Meetup will put your event out there and say, hey, here's an event that might interest you. So it's another way to leverage it, and it's a great platform to get people to register and find the event.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. You starts with finding a venue, easy access. Um, I think maybe doing monthly events to start and work your way into a bigger annual might be a good strategy. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with you. And to kind of piggyback on what Coop was saying, when we first started doing all of these events, it wasn't like we just magically had this list to pick from to find vendors or whoever else. I mean, we had to do just like anybody else would do with networking. You've got to get out there and put your face out there and get to these other events and meet people and work with people. And and the great thing about all the vendors that we bring in for our events now are people we've actually used. We know, like, and trust them. So we're not just bringing in somebody that said, "Hey, can I be a vendor at your event?" We want to make sure that we've essentially vetted these people and know that there's someone that's trustworthy that you can get some good value from. Yeah, you're exactly right. You got to start out small, start building a following, and then you can eventually graduate up to maybe doing one of these larger events. Um, and don't be afraid to use social media to advertise. I mean, if it's like Coop was saying, Meetup or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any of these. I mean, it seems like just about everybody's on them now. So using those is a great way to get yourself out there to a broader audience and hopefully draw in more attendees a lot easier than just trying to go through someone's list or something like that.
Add value. I mean, I can't say that more. I
Mhm.
mean, we talk about that a lot on this podcast because it's so true. You can't expect value. You can't expect to extract value from an event unless you're providing it first. So we feel strongly that monthly meetings lead up to an annual. Now we stopped doing them in Minnesota at COVID, and it's been, I guess we just haven't really got back into it. But we've done it in Denver and Colorado Springs, and it's been rough, right? Because there's so many other people doing it. So how do you separate yourself, Howie, when you're going to do a monthly meeting?
Yeah, I think it has to be exactly what you're saying, just the value. There has to be good topics. So we always try to do education when people come, and then have a networking aspect to it as well after the education. So I think still giving that, and not just someone up there just talking just to talk, but literally taking it in and it's useful information for you. And then on the networking afterwards to me is why I always love to go to. So I think just having those two aspects, don't let it go too long. I mean, obviously, if you want to stay a little longer for the happy hour, which can happen from time to time, but don't stretch it out too long with your education because there might be people in that room that already know what you're talking about or have seen this presenter somewhere else. So just try to keep that to whatever you feel is comfortable. I think we like to see it at about 30, 45 minutes and then go have your cocktail or your Diet Coke, whatever you're into, and get to know the room.
Yeah, at your last event down in Colorado Spring, or no, I'm sorry, it was the last event we did in Denver, and
Mhm.
you were participating obviously, and um, I asked you the next day, like, how long were you there? Because you guys were in some deep conversations, and
Yeah, we shut it down that night. That
then
was
you shut it down.
they had to ask us to leave, so very politely though. But yeah, I think I was late for work the next morning too. Sorry about that.
Well, the huge value in what you're saying here is you were strengthening a relationship that you already had, someone that you were, I don't know, you've been doing business with for the last year, and significant amount of business. And for you, it felt important to stay there and strengthen that.
Yeah, exactly. To get to know them on more of a personal level, and for them as well to get to know us more on a personal level, it makes the business part of it so much more fun. You're more into what they're doing, they're more into what you're doing. And it's funny, from that event, the two gentlemen I was hanging out with, they've reached out more to me. They're asking me what I'm doing on the weekend. They're asking, you know, I think 2 days ago or something. It was a really super busy day, so I couldn't get back to them right away, and legitimately asking, "Are everything okay? Anything I can do to help?" All this kind of
Oh,
stuff.
that's
So
awesome, man.
they're turning into friends, which is really, really nice. So those kinds of things can come from this as well, not just professionally, but can make a new buddy out of it as well, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I know this is true for Coop and Sean. I mean, Sean, you do a lot of other stuff, not volleyball. You do softball, although not as much. But you have these little different groups of friends. But wouldn't you say the real estate pals are some of your closest friends now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, like we were talking about earlier, we've done enough business with people, and one of the nice parts about an event like this, or even the monthly things, is you might have someone you've done some business with, and you've only talked to them on the phone or email or anything else. You've never actually met them in person. So once you finally get to meet them in person, you can connect a little more, and yeah, if you work with people enough, and you're adding value to them, and they're adding value to you, yeah, it's very easy to become friends with these people, and hang out outside of doing an event like this. So yeah, it's always great. It's always great to do these things.
One piece of value you have received from a success summit that's impacted your life.
Me?
Are you asking me,
Yeah,
or?
Coop. I'm sorry, I said Coop, but I maybe you didn't
Oh,
hear me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll just ask all of you, but let's start with Coop. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but and you've got over a decade, and there was a time there we were doing 2 events a year, and then in Denver only, and then we did Minnesota. So there's like legit 3 events a year for a while. So it's probably hard to go back and extract one thing, but if you can, what's one thing that you've learned that you've implemented that's changed your life?
Uh, you're right. I mean, it's a difficult question, but the first thing that popped into my mind was the idea of buying rentals sooner than later. In my mind, and when I had started before, even with Pine Financial, it was following that old guru path of wholesaling, then fixing, flipping, and then rentals, and maybe someday commercial. Um, and going to some of these events and meeting some of these people and talking to folks, they're like, if you have some money, or even if you don't, right, through the burst strategy, why not just buy a property now as a rental property? And of course, through the conversation and the networking, and it really kind of sunk in. And I bought our first rental property back in, gosh, I don't even know, 2013, 2011. Um, and and my net worth is gigantic. I've had the confidence to buy multiple rentals now. That's really my focus.
Married, man. He's married.
I'm not really pursuing fix and flips anymore, similar to Howie. If the right one falls in my lap, I'll do it. But really, it's the hard money lending, it's going to these events, and it's picking up more rentals and growing that rental portfolio. And I definitely wouldn't be, my family wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for that piece of advice and really changing I guess really the paradigm and the way I was approaching investing, and specifically the timeline.
So awesome. So the I think that was it last year, or maybe the year before. There, Anthony Birch was up talking about short-term rentals, and I remember extracting so much value from that one presentation. And one thing that really stuck with me is always have an extra coffee pot. I know that's very specific, something that I learned from one of these events. But look, the last thing you want is a pissed off tenant when it's an overnight rental. So make sure you have an extra coffee because people get addicted to that stuff. I've learned a lot of tax strategies through these events, a lot of asset protection strategies. I can go into specifics, but curious, Howie, what have you learned?
Yeah, I'll be quick. I've got three to come to mind. One is just, now being a part of Pine. So that's huge, extremely life changing being here. Thanks for taking a chance on me, guys, and being patient with me and teaching me all the goodies. I've had a blast being here a little over 2 years now. So that came from this event, right? So talk about life changing. And a big thing from these events as well, and from being a Pine, is taking action. So just not kind of, hey, buy the book, buy the course, just sit back, look around. "Oh, okay, one day I'll do it. One day I'll do it. And one day never comes. But literally just go, you got to go jump into the fire and start it. So that's been a huge part, the taking action part. It kind of becomes contagious too. It's once you see the results from it and the success from it, becomes easier to take that action rather than just being a little bit fearful of what could happen. And then third, I got a hole in one last year because Sean took me to a golf course in Minnesota, and that wouldn't have happened if I didn't come to these events and got to know Sean better on a personal level. To where, hey, he wants to spend some time with me, and vice versa. Let's go golfing, and yeah, and then I think we had a good happy hour after that one too, Sean.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, cheers.
So it's yeah, and the more people I talk to, the more value when I ask this question to different people that's been to the event. It's almost always the people in the room, the networking.
Yeah.
It almost always is. But Sean, I know this is tough because you've been in this business a long, long time. Can you identify a specific thing you've learned from the stage that has impacted you?
Oh, from the stage. Okay. Yeah, some of the things I've learned from the stage is just to especially from the seasoned investors, the very experienced investors, is to have a different look at how properties are. Don't just have the cookie cutter. We got to get in there and do the rehab as quick as possible and get it back on the market, and let's hopefully do it for a little bit less than everybody else, but still get that good profit. Where you've got the seasoned investors who maybe look at it a little bit differently. How can I essentially add more value to this property by doing something different that maybe the newer investor wouldn't do? If we can do an addition to it, or if we can do something like that. They always have a different outlook on a property, on what is the potential if we do something a little bit different than everybody else. Can we actually drive that value up a little bit more, or make it that much more marketable to sell quicker? And it was a common thread that you see with all these very seasoned investors, is they always have that little bit different outlook
Yeah.
on what you can do to a property. And that was just a really, it seems kind of basic and not like a huge thing, but boy, it's really powerful when you actually implement it. So to get that and see it as a common theme from all these seasoned investors was kind of a really powerful thing to learn.
Thinking of another one as I hear you talking about this, is from Hope Byrne, one of our other speakers that I learned from her. If you're gonna do fix and flips and you're gonna buy the material, in fact, you should buy the material and not let your contractor buy it because you want the reward points in your credit card. Um,
Mhm.
but just you could just order that in from Home Depot and have it all set aside. They even have lockers now that they put that in, and your contractor can go pick it up. And then if you think about all the fix and flips and all the materials you're buying, how much points you can get on your credit cards from doing this, that you would normally just be handing over to your contractor. And sometimes they mark material up, so you're paying more and not getting the points. So that was another an extraction point I took from one of the success summits. So I mean, I could just keep going. There's so much I've learned from these events that have actually improved my life. You have to be at this event. It's mniss.com. It's 39 freaking dollars, guys. And we buy you a drink. And you get to meet Howie. You get to meet Coop. You get to meet Sean. Or maybe you know us and you want to just come out and hang out. This is the event to go to. This is the event of the year, March 2nd, mniss.com. What am I missing, guys?
Nailed it, man.
Yeah, just people got to be there. Yeah, come out and see us. You won't regret spending that $39. It's gonna be the best money you've ever spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, just the networking is going to be incredible. The speakers, the lineup is going to be great. And so come prepared to learn, right? Come prepared to take a lot of notes. Bring a notepad, bring business cards. If you don't have them, there's plenty of time to go get some cheap business cards made. But when it comes down to the networking, it's not about how many business cards you give out, it's about how many you collect,
Right.
right? So make sure you're taking a lot of business cards. And then at the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, when the event's over, it's about the follow-up, right? Who did you meet? Who did you talk to? What speakers did you connect with? And then reach back out to them and stay connected, right? Like Howie said, one of his big takeaways is taking action. That's the most easiest way to take action after an event like this. Just follow up with the people you met. Grab a cup of coffee, have a conversation, whatever it is, maybe apply to work for their company. But it's the follow-up. It's the action after the event that is really going to propel all of you to that next level.
Yeah, and it's fun, guys. Come on out. It really is a good time. You'll be thankful that you did.
And if you can't give up the whole day, you should give up the whole day if you can, for sure. But if it's only a half day and you can just
Right.
It's only $40, guys. It's if you just catch 1 or 2 sessions, it's still worth it.
Yep.
So just come in, hang out. If you could stay for the happy hour, please do. We'd love to meet you. Again, 39 bucks. I'll give you 220s if you don't like it. And you can get more info at mniss.com. Thank you guys so much for coming on this episode. And with that, appreciate the viewers, appreciate the listeners. Give us a 5-star review and make this day a great one. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please be sure to follow and leave us a review. Oh yeah, and tell a friend.